Let's kick things off with our first major headline, and it's one that has the entire MMA community buzzing. Sean Strickland has officially accepted a $40,000 challenge to spar an online influencer known as HS TikToki. The story started just yesterday when reports surfaced that Strickland had been offered $40K to step into the ring with the influencer, who has been talking a big game. TikToki claimed that Strickland would be an easy win, and even went as far as to say he would walk through him in the ring. Bold words, considering we're talking about one of the most dangerous middleweights on the planet. Well, Strickland has agreed to put those words to the test. The only holdup is that TikToki is currently sidelined with a hand injury, which means the sparring session won't happen immediately. That hasn't stopped him from stirring the pot though. He's already hyping up the matchup online, claiming that Strickland personally messaged him, confirming that once the injury heals, he'll fly out to make the sparring session happen. TikToki has doubled down on his trash talk, declaring that once he beats Strickland in what he's calling a fair boxing match with 16-18 Oz gloves, the world will finally recognize him as the real deal. In his own words, "I'm not joking around, I'm here to stay. All I did was mention Strickland's name and it went viral, but it won't just break the internet. I'm going to break his face and his jaw the second this hand is healed." Those are incredibly bold statements, especially when aimed at someone like Sean Strickland, who is notorious for his relentless pressure and no-nonsense style inside the cage. Strickland isn't exactly the type of fighter you want to provoke with trash talk, because he has a long history of silencing people physically. Fans are split on the situation. Some believe this is nothing more than an influencer chasing clout by attaching his name to a UFC star. Others see Strickland's willingness to accept as a sign that this could turn into something much bigger, maybe even a viral event with mainstream appeal. Regardless, one thing is certain, the influencer has already achieved his first goal. Getting people talking. Whether he can actually back up his words against someone like Strickland is another matter entirely. But if this matchup really happens, fans can expect fireworks. Before we move on to the next story, a quick reminder, if you're enjoying the content, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Moving to our second news, Islam Makhachev recently showed off his lighter side when he decided to poke fun at his mentor and close friend Daniel Cormier. Even though Makhachev is already deep into an intense training camp for his upcoming fight, he still found the time to crack a playful joke at Cormier's expense. Footage surfaced of Daniel Cormier working hard inside the gym, reminding fans of his long and decorated career as a two-division UFC champion, known not only for his achievements in the cage, but also for his big personality outside of it. Cormier once again became the center of attention, this time for something more lighthearted. When the clip went viral, Makhachev couldn't resist jumping in with a joke, saying that Cormier doesn't actually train to fight, he trains to eat. The lighthearted jab had fans laughing across social media. It was classic locker room banter between two close friends, highlighting another side of Makhachev's personality. While the reigning lightweight champion is typically all business when it comes to training and fighting, moments like this show that he's relaxed, confident, and in high spirits heading into his next big challenge. Of course, Daniel Cormier's legacy in the sport is already secure. He has done it all, winning both the light heavyweight and heavyweight titles, defending belts, and competing against some of the greatest fighters in UFC history. Jokes about his weight or his love for food have followed him throughout his career, but Cormier has never shied away from laughing at himself. That humility and sense of humor are part of why fans love him so much. He's approachable, relatable, and always ready to share a laugh. For Makhachev, this playful jab highlights the strong bond he shares with his mentor. Cormier was a key figure in guiding Islam during his early days in the UFC, with countless hours spent training together at the American Kickboxing Academy. Their connection remains strong, and fans are now getting to see that through these fun, public interactions. At the same time, this moment reveals something important about where Makhachev is mentally. Despite being deep into training camp and sharpening his skills for another title defense, he's calm enough to joke around and enjoy the process. That balance of intensity and relaxation is often what separates champions from contenders. With training camp updates already surfacing, fans can expect to see more glimpses into Makhachev's preparation. If he's this relaxed and playful now, it's a clear sign that he's locked in and ready to deliver another huge statement when fight night arrives. Moving to our next news, Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen recently discussed Khamzat Chimaev's next possible opponent following UFC 390. The MMA world is buzzing with speculation about who poses the biggest threat to Khamzat's throne. Many fans have been calling for a matchup with Raj Jair, but since Jair is already booked to fight Hernandez in October, that fight is off the table for now. Chimaev has made it clear he wants to fight in October at UFC Abu Dhabi, which rules out both Jair and Hernandez. Meanwhile, Baralio and Nassourdine Imavov are scheduled for early September. While a quick turnaround would be difficult, history shows that short-notice fights can sometimes create legendary moments. Sonnen reminded fans of his own situation in 2012, when he stepped up to fight John Jones on just 8 days' notice after Dan Henderson pulled out. Though Jones declined at the time, Sonnen eventually fought him later. He also highlighted Michael Bisping's shocking upset over Luke Rockhold in 2016, when Bisping accepted the fight on only 17 days' notice and knocked Rockhold out to become champion. Sonnen suggested that Borralho could be an exciting option and noted that Imavov has shown flashes of real potential. However, he emphasized that the fighter who could truly pose a problem for Chimaev is Reinier de Ridder. Chimaev respected Gilbert Burns' ground game so much that he altered his grappling approach against him, and Sonnen believes de Ridder commands that same respect with his dangerous skills from the bottom. Looking further ahead, Sonnen even mentioned Sean Strickland as another intriguing potential matchup if circumstances align. Finally, another massive story just dropped, and it shocked the MMA world. Reports surfaced that Khamzat Chimaev was actually taken down in sparring by none other than Ilia Topuria. Spanish MMA journalist Alvaro Cano set the internet on fire when he claimed that during a training session, Ilia successfully landed a takedown on Khamzat. According to Cano, this wasn't speculation or rumor, he insisted it was fact, even teasing that he had proof. The moment this news hit social media, the MMA community erupted. Some fans jumped on the Topuria hype train, treating it like he had just won a 5-round main event. Others laughed it off, reminding everyone of the golden rule of fight gyms: it's just sparring. The debate grew so heated that even major voices in MMA media had to weigh in. Big John McCarthy and Josh Thompson dedicated nearly half an hour on their podcast to this single story. McCarthy explained that sparring is very different from an actual fight. Often when a bigger, stronger fighter trains with a smaller opponent, they'll give up certain moments, allowing a strike to land or letting a takedown complete. The purpose is simple: it helps the smaller fighter sharpen technique and build confidence. According to McCarthy, that could be exactly what happened here. Khamzat may have allowed Ilia to hit the takedown as part of the training process. Still, McCarthy admitted one thing: whether it was given or earned, it's an impressive moment for Ilia. Not many fighters in the world can say they've put Chimaev on the mat in any setting. For a featherweight to do it, that gets attention. As reports and clips spread like wildfire, fans dissected every angle. Was Khamzat caught off guard? Was it pure skill from Ilia? Or was it a courtesy takedown from the bigger fighter? Everyone had their own interpretation, but one thing was undeniable: it had the entire MMA world talking. McCarthy summed it up best: training can either sharpen iron or break iron, depending on who you're working with. That line highlights the bigger picture. Chimaev, who usually cuts down from a massive frame to fight at 185 or even 170 pounds, almost always has a size advantage over his training partners by sparring with someone like Ilia. Up next, the biggest controversy of the week erupted after new footage of Khamzat Chimaev surfaced online, sparking massive backlash across the MMA world. The clips, which appeared earlier today, showed Chimaev returning to Chechnya, where he was warmly greeted by his father and Ramzan Kadyrov. At first, it seemed like a routine homecoming moment, but what happened next ignited outrage. In the footage, Chimaev is seen handing over his UFC championship belt directly to Kadyrov. The two posed proudly with the belt in hand, smiling for the cameras, while Chimaev continued giving interviews beside him, almost as if he had dedicated the victory to Kadyrov personally. For many fans, that crossed a line. The backlash was swift and intense. Social media erupted with criticism, with fans and journalists pointing out Kadyrov's reputation as a highly controversial figure accused of human rights abuses and condemned internationally. To critics, seeing a UFC star publicly hand over his belt to such a figure wasn't just uncomfortable, it was unacceptable. Some accused Chimaev of becoming a tool for political propaganda, suggesting that his actions helped Kadyrov project legitimacy and power through association with the UFC. Others went further, warning that this could create serious complications for Chimaev's career, including potential visa issues or travel restrictions, which could disrupt the entire UFC middleweight division if he's unable to compete freely. The disappointment spread quickly. Many fans were outraged that the UFC belt, a symbol of sporting excellence, was being displayed by someone accused of war crimes. Comments poured in across platforms, with one viral post reading, "The same country and leader he sought asylum from in Sweden, he's now celebrating." Another wrote, "They hate Westerners, but they're happy to collect millions from Western fans to fund their wars." Others criticized Chimaev personally, with remarks like, "Guy can't even greet his own father first. Such a bad look for the UFC, and blink twice if if you need help. Still, not every response was fueled by anger. Some fans voiced sympathy, suggesting Chimaev may not have much choice given Kadyrov's influence, and refusing him could carry risks. Others speculated that relocating permanently to the UAE or fully returning to Sweden might be the only way for Chimaev to avoid these controversies in the future. Even so, the overall reaction leaned heavily negative. For many, this wasn't just about Chimaev. It reflected on the UFC itself. Allowing the belt to be used in such a politically charged context left a sour impression and could damage both Chimaev's image and the organization's credibility. Meanwhile, another major headline broke. Reinier de Ridder, fresh off his huge win over Dricus Du Plessis earlier this summer, has officially booked his next fight. Dana White confirmed that de Ridder will headline UFC Vancouver on October 18th, taking on Anthony "Fluffy" Hernandez in a 5-round main event at Rogers Arena. Tickets are already generating major buzz. White announced the fight with excitement. We're back in Vancouver October 18, and it's Reinier de Ridder versus Fluffy Hernandez, two top middleweight contenders. I love this fight. De Ridder, currently ranked number 5, has been on an incredible run since arriving in the UFC. Before joining, he was already a 2-division champion in 1 championship, holding both the middleweight and light heavyweight titles. Since transitioning to the UFC, he hasn't lost a single fight, earning dominant wins over top contenders, including Bo Nickal and a career-defining victory over former champion Robert Whittaker. Remarkably, this upcoming bout will be de Ridder's 5th fight in 2025, a pace rarely matched by elite fighters today. Dana White praised his activity, saying, "I love guys that stay active." On the other side, Hernandez enters ranked number 6, riding an 8-fight win streak. Known for his finishing ability, Hernandez boasts 12 finishes in his 15 career victories. Just 2 weeks ago, he earned a Performance of the Night bonus with a dominant win over Roman Kopylov. He has quickly established himself as one of the division's most dangerous threats. The build-up to this fight carries extra intensity thanks to Chimaev. Before the matchup was announced, Chimaev claimed that if he ever fought de Ridder, he would make him look like a white belt on the ground. De Ridder fired back in an interview with MMA Junkie, saying, "If I end up on the bottom, I'm fine. If I end up on top, I'm fine. It could turn into a grappling fight for the ages. Our styles match up well, and I think it'll be awesome." Hernandez has also been vocal, saying he's ready for de Ridder and already has his eyes on Chimaev down the road. The middleweight division is heating up fast, filled with fresh faces and active contenders who aren't afraid to speak out. Analysts like Luke Rockhold and Joe Rogan have suggested de Ridder might actually be the one fighter who could give Chimaev real problems. Rockhold even admitted, "I don't like giving him too much credit, but I think de Ridder is the #1 choice for that fight." With Chimaev now sitting at number 4 in the pound-for-pound rankings, and with de Ridder and Hernandez set to clash in Vancouver, the stakes couldn't be higher. The winner of this October 18 showdown won't just secure a top spot in the division, they'll be knocking on the door of a title shot. And with Chimaev looming in the background, the fight carries even greater weight for the future of the middleweight division. Up next, the biggest controversy of the week erupted after new footage of Khamzat Chimaev surfaced online, sparking massive backlash across the MMA world. The clips, which appeared earlier today, showed Chimaev returning to Chechnya, where he was warmly greeted by his father and Ramzan Kadyrov. At first, it seemed like a routine homecoming moment, but what happened next ignited outrage. In the footage, Chimaev is seen handing over his UFC championship belt directly to Kadyrov. The two posed proudly with the belt in hand, smiling for the cameras, while Chimaev continued giving interviews beside him, almost as if he had dedicated the victory to Kadyrov personally. For many fans, that crossed a line. The backlash was swift and intense. Social media erupted with criticism, with fans and journalists pointing out Kadyrov's reputation as a highly controversial figure accused of human rights abuses and condemned internationally. To critics, seeing a UFC star publicly hand over his belt to such a figure wasn't just uncomfortable, it was unacceptable. Some accused Chimaev of becoming a tool for political propaganda, suggesting that his actions helped Kadyrov project legitimacy and power through association with the UFC. Others went further, warning that this could create serious complications for Chimaev's career, including potential visa issues or travel restrictions, which could disrupt the entire UFC middleweight division if he's unable to compete freely. The disappointment spread quickly. Many fans were outraged that the UFC belt, a symbol of sporting excellence, was being displayed by someone accused of war crimes. Comments poured in across platforms, with one viral post reading, "The same country and leader he sought asylum from in Sweden, he's now celebrating." Another wrote, "They hate Westerners, but they're happy to collect millions from Western fans to fund their wars." Others criticized Chimaev personally, with remarks like, "Guy can't even greet his own father first. Such a bad look for the UFC, and blink twice if you need help." Still, not every response was fueled by anger. Some fans voiced sympathy, suggesting Chimaev may not have much choice given Kadyrov's influence, and refusing him could carry risks. Others speculated that relocating permanently to the UAE or fully returning to Sweden might be the only way for Chimaev to avoid these controversies in the future. Even so, the overall reaction leaned heavily negative. For many, this wasn't just about Chimaev. It reflected on the UFC itself. Allowing the belt to be used in such a politically charged context left a sour impression and could damage both Chimaev's image and the organization's credibility.